Good morning. Welcome to Up to the Minute. I'm Todd Duplantis. Good to have you with us this morning. We're live and glad to have you with us on a Monday morning. It's Mental Health Monday. We've also got some special guests from HCC joining us. But first, I've got a special co-host joining me this morning. He was a guest not that long ago. Now he returns as one of our co-hosts, Dr. Nicholas Cox with the History Department. He is the chair. Nick, good to see you again.
Good morning. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for being here. We are glad to have you with us for the first time on the show. When you were here as a guest, did you think, hey, one day I'm going to return and co-host the show?
Well, why not? Why not? I'm always interested to learn what else is happening here at HCC beyond my own department.
Cool. All right. We're going to hear more about that in a little while. And we want to welcome everyone watching us on Facebook Live. You can catch us every day. We're on the air just about every day. HCC is in session live at 10 a.m. Nick, they can also watch us in social media anytime and on HCCTV.
Yeah, we're live on the Houston Community College District Facebook page. We're also on Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and on HCCTV at noon, 5 and 10 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Okay. All right, Nick, stick around. You'll be interviewing these next guests. We've got a full house this morning. First up, James Virgilio is an HCC professor, American Sign Language and Interpretation, as well as faculty advisor for the Interpreter Student Association. Good morning, James.
Good morning, Todd.
James, you there?
Yes, good morning.
Looks like your mic has been muted for some reason. Let's see if we can get back to that. Some reason your mic's not working, but we'll check in with you shortly. Can you hear us now?
I can hear you. Is this working?
Okay, we can hear you loud and clear.
Great.
So good deal.
Good morning,
good to have
Todd.
you with us this morning. We've also got Antonio Ramos, who is an interpreter with Visual Language Professionals. Good morning, Antonio.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning.
Thank you for being here. And you're here as an interpreter for one of our students, an HCC student and vice president of the Interpreter Student Association. John Porter is here as well. Good morning, John.
Good morning.
All right, we're going to be talking with all three of you guys very shortly, so stick around. We'll be with all of y'all in about 10 minutes. Now, as we mentioned at the top of the show, it's a Monday. I know we'll get through it somehow, but it's Mental Health Monday, and here for some monthly tips, Roxanne Francis. She is a counselor at HCC Southwest College, and she's our Mental Health Monday guest. Good morning. Welcome back to the show, Roxanne.
Good morning, Todd. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday to you. Now, we've got a very important topic that no one really wants to talk about this subject, but we need to. September is Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, so it's a good time to discuss this very difficult topic. Maybe you can tell us about we'll start off with, what are some of the warning signs that someone should look in when they may be facing a person with the risk of suicide?
Some of the more common signs that historically have been seen is you'll notice a shift or a change in the person, whether it's a family, friend, loved one. You may notice that they are withdrawing a bit more. Maybe they have, they're ruminating or they're thinking a lot about suicide, maybe looking things up online about suicide, asking about suicide. And so you'll also notice that that person may be giving away prized possessions, things that maybe typically they wouldn't have given away, or even lose interest in some of those activities or hobbies that they had before. You'll start to notice some of those things. So that is a great time to just really do a check-in with that family, friend, loved one, even classmate, right? And just do a check-in with them and just ask. And as uncomfortable as it is, as you mentioned, you have to use those words and just ask, are you considering suicide? Is this something that you've done before? We need to talk about it because I care about you.
And when you have that conversation, it's obviously an awkward, difficult conversation to have someone, but maybe the most important conversation you have. Have you found as a counselor when someone is approached and by someone else and saying, hey, are you thinking of harming yourself or even suicide? What's the outcome with that? Do you see it being more successful?
It could be mixed. Sometimes you can find that, that person that's considering suicide is waiting on that one person to ask.
Yeah.
They're waiting on that one person to check in on them. And so that may be their opportunity to open up and say, you know what, yes, I've been feeling really bad lately. And then you may have others that may not say anything at all. And they may even deny, like, what? Like, no, I would never consider something like that. But our part would be to definitely continue to check in on that person, continue to check in on them. If you come across a time where you're not hearing back from them via calls, going by the house, we do have locally here in Houston, we have what's called our CIRT team, CIRT. I've talked about CIRT before, as well as our MCOT team, and that's MCOT. And MCOT is through the Harris Center for Mental Health and IGD, and they'll come out and do wellness checks or welfare checks. They'll come out and complete those just in case you're not able to get in contact with that family, friend, or loved one. And so it's really important, even if that person maybe says, well, no, I would never do something like that, just to continue to check in on them, because we want to make sure that our family, friends, and loved ones are absolutely safe and that they can get the help that they need.
You mentioned some of the signs that are somewhat obvious, if they're giving away belongings, looking up stuff about suicide, how to commit suicide. But what are some of the signs that are not necessarily obvious to see?
When that person is just, kind of going about their day as they normally would. And it may be something where you say, well, I did notice, the other day he looked a little sad, or she there, they looked a little sad, but I didn't think anything of it. But just some of those small things. So it may not always be as big as giving things away or having those feelings about depression or even talking about it. So, we got to take care of one another. We really have to check in with one another, make sure that we're taking care of one another. And I think the last segment we talked about this, but it could be something as simple as a smiley face emoji and like, hey, let's go get coffee soon. Yeah. Or being a little bit more aggressive and just saying, you know what, I haven't seen you. I'm coming to your house. I'm coming to pick you up at 2:00. And really being the catalyst for kind of getting it going. Because most times, if you find that someone is kind of dealing with depression, dealing with thoughts of suicide, they're not going to want to be around other people. So sometimes you have to be the one to jump out there and say, you know what, I'm coming to pick you up, 2:00, be ready. And get them back in the groove and start that conversation.
You mentioned a resource that was available to do welfare checks on someone. Maybe you could talk about that again and some of the other resources, because obviously if you're thinking someone may be looking at harming themselves, you may not want to call the police and send them out to their house. What would be the other groups that you could send there to do a welfare check?
So one resource that a person that's considering or thinking about suicide, the one resource that they can use on their own is the Suicide Lifeline. And it recently changed this summer. It was like June, July, it recently changed. And that number is 988. Simple, 988. That person can call that number. They can choose if they want to text, if they want to communicate via text, or if they want to chat with someone live. And so that's a resource that particular individual can use themselves. If that person is like not responding, or let's say a loved one is concerned, the resource that we usually give out here in the counseling department would always be MCOT. And it's the letter M, and it stands for Mobile Crisis Outreach Team. That's what those acronyms, those letters stand for. And those guys are awesome. There's a psychiatrist on board. There's a licensed therapist on board to do that check-in with that family, friend, or loved one, peer, just to try to get them as stable as possible and get them some help.
You mentioned MCOT. Is that a fairly new resource in response to, I know police were catching a lot of heat over the past few years for responding to incidents where someone was facing a mental crisis. There were talks about getting teams of individuals together that could respond to these crises. Is that MCOT a result of that?
No, MCOT has actually been around for a while. And so MCOT is, again, directly linked with the Harris Center. However, anyone in the community can reach out to MCOT and make a referral. And it's simple. You call, give information, whatever information you have, because sometimes we don't have all the information, but at least having the person's name, an address, and a telephone number or a key. Having that information, and that individual can make a referral through MCOT, give the information that they do have, and then MCOT will go out and make an outreach or welfare check to the person that's considering suicide. That's one aspect. The piece that you're talking about is the CERT team. And so CERT are mental health professionals that ride along with our, let me just say officers. I don't want to call out HPD, but with our officers, they ride along with the officers. And those are licensed individuals that come out. They do get specialized training in addition to the officers who deal with any type of mental health crises that they come across.
Right. And I think it's important to mention, because I saw this in social media and you see things in social media that people post and you're not sure if it's true or not. But I did see over the last couple of weeks about 988. And that is a legitimate number. And that, once again, is Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, correct?
Yes, that is correct. That is correct. And another thing I always like to mention is sometimes individuals feel like, I have to go to a psychiatric hospital, or I have to make sure that I go to a place that specializes in mental health treatment. If a person is in crisis, go to the nearest hospital. Even if it's Memorial Hermann, go to the nearest hospital. Once you get to that nearest hospital, you'll go through an evaluation there. And if it seems that that person needs to be transferred to mental health hospital, the hospitals will coordinate that transfer. So not making a person even, kind of not feel like they really well, I have to drive 20 minutes, or, maybe I have to get a ride to the mental health hospital. Go to the nearest hospital, call 911, and those resources are openly available to you. They're close to you and should be fairly convenient to get to.
Roxanne Francis, she is a counselor at HCC Southwest College and our Mental Health Monday guest. Always good to see you. Thank you for being here this morning.
Thank you for having me, Todd. It's always good to see you as well.
All right. Thanks, Roxanne. Take care.
Take care.
Okay. I'm going to turn things over to Dr. Nick Cox, who is going to be talking with some very interesting individuals here at HCC. And Nick, I'm going to let you take it away.
All right, thank you, Todd. Good morning, everybody. Let's speak with some of our sign language interpreters, faculty and staff here at HCC. James Virgilio, HCC Professor and Interpreter Student Association Advisor, known as the ISA. John Porter, HCC Student and Vice President of the ISA. And Antonio Ramos, Interpreter for Visual Language Professionals. James, let's start with you. What is the American Sign Language Interpreter Training Program?
Our program is a 65-hour Associate of Applied Arts, Associate of Applied Science in interpreting American Sign Language. We offer 4 levels of American Sign Language so students can become fluent in the language, and then we have them take several courses on interpreting skills, interpreting ethics, interpreting history, and so on, so that once they complete our program, they're ready to go out into the workforce and provide service to the deaf community, and hopefully they're ready to sit for their state exam.
James, do students have the opportunity to take those in person, online, both? What campuses in town would be places where students might expect to take American Sign Language interpreter classes?
Great question. Our American Sign Language, our ASL classes, are offered at Central Campus and at the Missouri City campus at this time. We've gotten requests for more classes on more campuses, but we need more teachers to do that. So as you know, do you get more teachers to get more students, or do you get more students and then you need more teachers? It's kind of the chicken and egg thing. But our interpreting classes, where we're actually working on skills of working between American Sign Language and English and providing interpreting service to the community, those classes happen at Central. And one of our classes, the Introduction to the Interpreting Profession, is currently offered online. But all of our other classes, we're very happy to report, are happening in person, live at the various campuses.
Excellent, thank you. What are some of the benefits of becoming an interpreter?
Oh gosh, for me, becoming an interpreter was one big benefit was having the opportunity to go places that I, as an ordinary person, might not be able to go. I've been able to interpret for births. I've been able to interpret for, sadly, deaths and funerals. I've had the opportunity to interpret for high-level corporate meetings. I've had the opportunity to interpret for adoptions being finalized. We just get to be part of so many different things that those of us who, don't need the service, we can go wherever we need to and do whatever we want. For deaf folks to have access to the same things we have access all the time, that's where interpreters come in, and so we get to be an important part of a lot of important things.
Excellent. John, let's bring you into the conversation. How does the Interpreter Student Association help prepare HCC students for a career as an interpreter? John, if you'd unmute your mic first.
Yeah, sorry. Our association helps our students being part of the community is the crux of the program. By joining, we encourage everyone to go to Deaf Socials and get real life experience.
Excellent, John. So this week is we celebrate Deaf Awareness Week. John, what's the importance of this event?
We brought Deaf Pride, Deaf Awareness to HCC. First, the two concerts that we're having, our fellow students will be demonstrating their interpreting skills in both music and in drama. It's showing the hearing world that, deaf people do and can enjoy the arts. And then secondly, we have Deaf World, where business leaders in the deaf community are coming to campus and speaking on different opportunities that the interpreters will have a chance to take advantage of once we graduate.
All right. Well, John, while I have you, since you're a student, what are the events that the ISA will be hosting this week to celebrate Deaf Awareness and Deaf Pride and to showcase the community?
Well, once again, our concerts, interpreting music is an important part of the deaf world. We also have what we call Club Deaf, where we're having the other students here on campus get to experience what it's like for deaf people to enjoy music. We're also having, like I was saying, the Deaf World, where we're having our business leaders come in. And that's really important, showing our students that, once we graduate, there are multiple opportunities for us in the business world.
We'd love all your students there with you to wave at the camera and say hello to our audience. Excellent. James, back to you. Are there any other events you want to add about interpreter training programs?
Well, before I answer that, I want to acknowledge Professor Roxanne Kaufman, who is among the entourage. She's one of our adjuncts and has just been a wonderful asset to the program, and she's sort of our musical mentor for these concerts that are coming up. So we're real excited to have her on the program and in the interpreting program. If I remember right, the week events, Club Deaf is tomorrow afternoon. Our first concert is Wednesday afternoon in the San Jacinto Auditorium. Thursday is that Deaf Game Day?
That's right.
Yeah, Deaf Game Day in the interpreting department, and we're in the EDC building on Central Campus. Friday is Deaf World, where we're asking deaf leaders to come in, again, to showcase what they are doing and provide an opportunity for people to see that deaf folks are successful outside of the academic world, and how John said that we can, as interpreters, be part of that process. And then Saturday, we're having Concert 2.0, again in the San Jacinto Auditorium. So that is that's like the sum and substance of Deaf Pride Week. In our program, we invite students to come up to the study room and visit and practice their language skills while they're waiting for their next class to begin. A lot of our students, they drive in and, classes are spread out during the day. So there are some downtimes. We encourage them to take those downtimes to talk with one another, do their homework, take advantage of the ASL lab so that they can do their assignments on campus if they have the time, and just, to make the most of the department and the program.
Well, excellent. Thank you, James Virgilio, HCC Professor and Interpreter Student Association Advisor. And thank you, John Porter, HCC Student and Vice President ISA. And Antonio Ramos, thank you, Interpreter for Visual Language Professionals. We'll have some links and additional information in the post after the show.
Great. Thank you, Nicholas. We appreciate it.
All right. Thank you all for being here and joining us with that important information. We've got some news and announcements to go through before we end the show. First off, Congrats to HCC's new Chief Facilities Officer. Samantha Manharaz has been named HCC's Chief Facilities Officer effective October 3rd. She'll be joining us pending a contract approval by the Board of Trustees. With 15 years experience in real estate, facilities, and project management, design, contracts, and auxiliary services, Samantha appreciates the HCC way and knows facilities contributes to the overall success of the college. HCC also thanks Michael Tress for serving as interim Chief Facilities Officer. And Nick, we've got a event coming up, Fiesta. It is a student life celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month.
That's right. The Office of Student Life commemorates Hispanic Heritage Month from September 15th to October 15th with virtual and in-person events such as Know Your Culture, Hispanic Heritage Month trivia on Wednesday, 10 a.m., September 21st at the North Forest campus. You can win prizes for this special Latinx trivia with lunch provided. There are reggaeton dance classes by Rec Sports on Thursday, 2 p.m., September 22nd. This is a virtual event where reggaeton, which blends Jamaican reggae, Latin American, and hip-hop music. Check our post after the show for the link for more details.
Okay, community and online education returns. HCC will offer virtual online sessions for its community learning and online continuing education programs. Community learning provides personal development, enrichment, recreation, and academic workshops for youth, adults, and seniors 50 and plus. The online continuing education program offers courses in career training, certification, preparation, and professional development to accomplish your educational goals. Happens 2 to 3 p.m. September 21st in WebEx. Also 2 to 3 p.m. October 12th in WebEx. We'll have a link in our social media post after the show. And transfer fairs are starting up again, Nick.
That's right, Todd. Students can join HCC at one of the many campuses hosting Fall 2022 college transfer fairs. They run from October 3rd to 12th, where students can hear from admissions advisors and talk directly to more than 60 universities, various campuses around town. On Monday, October 3rd at Northline and Eastside, Tuesday, October 4th at Central and Stafford. Those run from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. There will be more transfer fairs following that week and the next, so check the district Facebook page or the link in our post after the show.
Okay, HCC has a brand new look. HCC wants its brand to continue to stand out and reflect the college's look of a leader. The Communications Marketing Office has updated key branded communications assets with brand new modernized pieces through our Brandfolio webpage to ensure a unified and consistent one college look. HCC's faculty and staff are asked to please use the newly developed assets, or they can place an order or download the readily available templates from the Brandfolio site. Now, by collectively using the HCC branded assets, we help extend a unified and consistent visual brand identity. We'll have more information on this brand new look in our social media post after the show. If you want to register for the fall, Nick, well, the fall classes have begun, but you can still take shorter sessions in a very small amount of time, but get those hours in.
That's right, Todd. The 16-week regular term and the 12-week second start have already begun. But depending on your program, there are 4, 5, and 8-week sessions still ahead of us. So fall enrollment remains open. Students can register in modalities, including the online anytime, the online on a schedule, hybrid, in-person, hybrid labs. We have a lot of opportunities for students to continue to enroll in classes this fall. For registration to all HCC programs, go to hccs.edu/apply.
Okay, make sure you register today. Time is running out. Okay, tomorrow on the show, we're launching Hispanic Heritage Month here at Up to the Minute, and we congratulate Dr. Natalie Garza, one of our guest co-hosts. She received the highly coveted Ewan Family Endowment for a great neighborhood project she's about to launch surrounding one of Houston's historic wards. We'll let her explain tomorrow. And Nick, it's Tasty Tuesday as well.
That's right. Cuchara Restaurant, a highly acclaimed authentic Mexican city bistro, will be here to talk about celebrating its 15th anniversary. They opened in an old grocery store at Fairview and Taft on September 15th, also to launch Hispanic Heritage Month.
They are really expanding. They'll tell us all about that tomorrow. So we'll hear from them tomorrow. And Nick, you did a great job. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you. And thanks to all of our guests.
Yeah, we'll have you back on the show once again. Okay, thanks, folks. We'll see you tomorrow. We're live 10 a.m. right here with Up to the Minute.
Sometimes what you need just shows up. Houston Community College has your back, whether you're knocking out some basics or upping your game for a better job. Enroll today for spring classes and frame your future with HCC.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. So I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
The faculty at HCC represents the best of the city. They're committed to getting our students to their goals. HCC, for everyone, anytime, anyway.
How prepared is your family if disaster shows up at your doorstep? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan before they show up. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
let's go.
You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza.
Yes! Make a plan today.
Today I'm going to talk to you about physics. Come on in, girls. Let's go. This is the first rocket to get humans to Mars.
Really tall.
I'm a rocket structural engineer, designing and building parts of the rocket. You are the generation that will be stepping foot on Mars. Do I have a group of astronauts on my hands?
Yes.
You can become a rocket scientist or whatever else you want to be.
Things could be stranger, but I don't know how. I'm going through changes now. Could spend a lifetime trying to figure it out. I'm going through changes, through all of the strangeness. I'm going through changes now.
If you love them enough to relearn math so you can teach them math, then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're correctly buckled in the back seat.